Hey, I'm Chloé Caroline.
And I'm Shawna Patruno.
And welcome to Unwritten, an unedited podcast made for your story.
To be heard, to be shared, to be written.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Chloé Caroline.
And I'm Shawna Patruno.
And welcome to Unwritten. Yay! Today, our guest is the beautiful Vanessa Charters. Supermodel, amazing gal. And Shawna, what are we talking about today?
So this is one of my favorite topics. I don't feel like it's discussed enough, but it needs to be. It's when goal setting becomes toxic. And I feel like so many people are they've got their goals, we're running around trying to achieve stuff, but there's definitely times in our life where it can really burn you out and it starts to cause a hindrance. So we wanted to have Vanessa on to talk about this. So welcome, Vanessa.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Yes, we are good. We are good. Yeah, no, I'm super excited that we're having you here. You're our first guest for this topic. For everybody listening, we usually pick a topic and do 3 different parts to it. And Shawna and I usually discuss it. Then we have a guest that we choose and then a self-nominated guest. And so, Vanessa, you're our chosen guest today. And like Shawna, you're also a model, which is a awesome industry, but also a very high pressure industry, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I guess quick little recap about who you are before we dive in. Where are you from? How did you get started in modeling? And just I guess, who are you as a person?
Well, I'm from the Toronto area. I just kind of live outside of it. I started modeling when I was so I first went to a modeling agency when I was around 14, but it was something that I had an interest in long before then. Just kind of ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to try it, always wanted to give it a go, but didn't really know how. I think a lot of people find themselves in that position. Luckily, growing up, obviously, with Google and YouTube and whatever else, it was a little easier to figure things out. But yeah, I started a long time ago.
Wow.
I love it. I love fashion. I love makeup. I love the arts. I love acting. I'm just a very creative person, so all those things fit in really well with that industry, and that was really, I guess, my draw to it. I was always drawn to it as young as I can remember.
Are you particularly tall, if you don't mind me asking?
I am not particularly tall, compared to a lot of the girls in modeling. No.
That's kind of cool.
There's a lot of really tall girls, but it goes both ways. It's kind of a happy medium. You have a hard time if you're too tall, you have a hard time if you're not quite tall enough, but then sometimes people just like you and that works. It's
amazing.
It's hard to know.
What would you say when you started in the modeling industry, being a little bit shorter, gave you that cutting edge? Because I know personality is a big thing, but I see you're working with a lot of people repetitively. So how have you managed to do that for yourself?
I gotta be honest, I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
I'm really, really, really stubborn because the minute that I walked into the agency's door that I was telling you about, she was warning me about that. And I've had to create a lot of opportunities for myself because sometimes people don't always, sometimes you have to show them, right? So I spent a lot of time portfolio building. I spent a lot of time just trying to connect. Like I said, I have a passion for creating. I love to create. I love to be creative. I just love the arts, all of it.
So with your portfolio and everything, did you find friends that were photographers or just did it as a hobby, or did you just go out and find people that you could, that were willing to work with you for a lower rate at first, or how did you start building that out?
No, I never, when I started, I knew nobody. I didn't even actually have social media. Growing up, I wasn't allowed social media. So I just went with my agency and I kind of I asked, I asked questions. I walked in and I asked questions. She herself, she's gone now, she's retired, but she was a model herself way back. She was a runway model. She did print, she did commercial. So she knew a lot about the industry and she was able to set me up, and once I got the jive of how things worked, I just took it and
Yeah,
went with it.
I love that. Vanessa, I want to ask you, so it's obviously overcoming obstacles, and you said you're stubborn. Have you ever found being stubborn and having this goal of being a model has like interfered with other areas of your life?
I think stubborn, the truth is that sometimes your best qualities can also be your worst qualities. It they can go both ways. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think being stubborn in one way, sometimes you get the goals that you want, or you get
Mm-hmm.
opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't have, but it definitely also works counterintuitively where there is a lot of beating yourself up. There is a lot of
Right.
why am I not good enough? And then there's also a lot of things that you just can't control. The
Yeah.
one thing about anything within the creative world or arts or acting, modeling is that frankly, it's not so much about hard work. A lot of it is actually like luck, being in the right time, in the right place, meeting the right people, connecting with the right people, and you cannot
Right.
always control that. And
Yeah.
you
Right.
also can't you just have to be you. And
Mm-hmm.
not everyone's going to like you. And
Right.
you can't control that either. That's
Mm-hmm.
really hard. And
Yep.
it's not quite like a goal, like a sales target where I'm going to sell this amount of stuff. It's not something that is met the same way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
there's
it's really hard to set those goals in that. It's not like I did figure skating, and figure skating was a lot easier to set goals in.
Right. And that's also highly competitive too, right? Like really high pressure.
It
Um,
is, but there's like a plan.
right.
There's like we're gonna do
Yeah.
this, and you can kind of calculate each thing. I'm gonna spend this many hours at it. I'm gonna do this much coaching. I'm gonna do this. This is my goal. We're gonna fix
Mm-hmm.
this. Like you can kind of map it out. And the
Sure.
God's honest truth is you cannot map anything out with this
No.
industry.
the
Yeah, you're
casting
right.
calls, everything. Like it's so like the day of. Like I know like I've gotten auditions and it's like literally I'm coming home from work and it's like, can you have this video done? So like
Yep.
there's no planning.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
and
you
just
don't know when those things are going to come up or who's going to be there or
right.
you
Yeah.
don't know. There's no career plan. It's really, really difficult, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And how like one job can literally change your life.
Yeah. And both ways, I think people don't always
True.
really do. Some people are so eager to start that they'll
Hmm.
take anything and everything.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
was something I had to learn when I first started when I was
Hmm.
like 14, is that I was just so eager that I was taking just everything, and the quality of your work also matters.
Oh yeah. That's
That's
a
really
huge point.
that's so important that you hit on that because I do find like a lot of younger girls they'll start and it's risky too. Like it's dangerous.
Totally.
There's a lot of
Mhm.
creeps out there. There's a lot of people who will take advantage of, especially a young, beautiful girl like yourself. Anyone who's eager, even older people get taken advantage of. So
Yeah.
that obviously must have been an obstacle. How did you change your mindset?
Like in terms of not getting taken advantage of or
Yeah.
making sure my work
Like,
was quality or
yeah.
like in
Well, just like basically like wanting to be a model, like you're like, I don't want to say you're desperate, like, but I know for myself when I got into it, I was so excited and it's such a high to do. But how did you wait for things and learn how to act without becoming a detriment to your health and being?
I mean, I gotta be honest, I still struggle with that. It's not
Hmm.
easy. I mean, I'm a human,
Hmm.
I have emotions, and especially when you're as passionate about something as I am and you love it as much as I do, it's impossible not to have emotions tied to it and
Hmm.
to not feel things. That
Yeah.
it's something that I am still working at that. Uh,
Yeah.
I think
I think like you said too, with like it's like you notice the quality of your work goes down, or like because you're working with people just to work rather than quantity over quality, right? Things like that, or and
right.
those things become the red flags that eventually, I guess, help you navigate your decisions.
Totally. But it's also what you share, right? If you do some work and potentially it doesn't match maybe the personal brand, because this is actually the new wave of models, is everyone's trying to build their own individual brand
Mm-hmm.
through social media. So you'll go to like a lot of models pages now, and they also are trying to do content creation. They're also trying to do influencing, because it really it goes side and side with modeling.
Right.
And so you don't have to post, something that doesn't necessarily align with your brand. I think it's always good to meet people and have experiences and keep busy. You don't
Right.
always have to put out there, I did this piece of work, if like it doesn't exactly fit. Like, let's say you want to be a bikini model, you don't have to post that you shop a winter clothing line.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's being able to like know what your limits are.
Well,
Right.
I love that because, I think that's probably an obstacle you overcame, was basically knowing who you are as a person, right? Like finding what aligns with you versus, I'm sure when you got into it, you didn't really know the venue you wanted to go in, or did you?
No, like I think everyone when they get into it has the same vision. We all grew up flipping the pages of magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when you start modeling, ultimately that is in the back of your head.
Right.
When you get into it, you realize that there's a lot more than just that. There's the commercial modeling is huge. It's the most lucrative.
Right.
So that's a huge thing. But I guess I didn't know. I knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't know that there was all those other avenues when I started.
Right.
That's for sure. In terms of marketing myself, I would say I did not really know what I was doing at first. I mean, I could show you some of my early photos. They're not necessarily things I would put together now in terms of outfits and things that I chose back then. But like you said, you don't know.
Yeah. You really don't. How do you navigate I guess, the physical pressures that come with people? A huge part of course, being a model is it's for people to look at you or look at what you're wearing or what's in your hair or what makeup you're wearing. It's
Yeah,
the
that's
it can easily get toxic.
that's also hard because you want to be your best.
Hmm.
Everyone does. Again, a lot of these things are things that I'm still consistently working on.
Sure.
When I started, I was a kid. My body was different.
Hmm.
So what
So
tools help you, Vanessa? So say like you got a picture back, right? And like I don't know, we all have insecurities. What is the mindset that you like basically calm yourself, if you feel like it wasn't your best shoot? Or do you ever have those moments? What helps you to like be kind to yourself? Or what would you say to somebody who started modeling or is feeling a little insecure?
I would say it's kind of a lot of mental gymnastics, to be honest.
Hmm.
Within that realm, you're always trying to make things look their best anyway. We're
Hmm.
trying to make makeup look its best. We're trying to make clothes look their best. Nothing is gonna showcase imperfections specifically. So you have to remember that first and foremost is that it is a production to some extent.
Hmm.
They're gonna choose the person that they feel is going to easiest fit whatever look that they're going for. That's just the truth of it.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, it's about that first. So it's not even about you necessarily always as a person.
Yeah,
Maybe you just didn't fit the vibe.
I love.
You
Hmm.
have to remember that. And when it comes to getting a photo back that you don't like, to be honest, if I don't like a photo, I just don't use it. I just mark it up to that wasn't my best photo, that wasn't my best angle. Maybe I'll take it forward in how I pose if I know that that wasn't my best thing. But sometimes it could just be the lighting. It could just be like something was off. And to be honest, most of the time, if you don't like the photo, the other people involved are probably also seeing the same thing.
Hmm.
And if they're not, you can always feel free if it's within your portfolio, if it's something that you're doing specifically for portfolio work and it's not like a job, let's say, you can totally reach out to the photographer, whoever, the editor, and be like, "Hey, I don't love that photo for my portfolio. I was looking maybe for something more like this." And
Hmm.
you can switch it around and take it forward and always try to better yourself. The truth is that anyone, models, actors, anyone, they're always trying to better themselves. They're always trying a new workout thing. They're always trying
Yeah.
to eat healthier. We all fluctuate. We all go up and down, and that's just life.
Is there any like one moment that you can pinpoint where you were like, maybe I've taken this a little bit too far, whether it's like just like a negative thought that you had or you overexhausted yourself or something like that?
I think it's more I love it so much that I just wish I was always doing it, and I get really sad, to be honest, when I'm not. Like, for me, I could never overdo it
Mm-hmm.
in that realm just because that's where I feel happiest, and
Right.
that's where I feel the most belonging. I would say I struggle with the opposite. I struggle when I'm not doing
Interesting.
things that then I'm like, I'm not doing enough. That's when the negativity creeps in more. It
Yeah.
doesn't so much creep in when I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
It creeps in more after, and then just always worrying, like, did I do a good job? Did people like me? Uh,
Right.
I do feel it is part of the job to come your best, and sometimes you're just not like at your best for whatever reason. Maybe you had a bad skin day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you haven't been eating your best, whatever it is. And I guess those types of moments I do feel
Mm-hmm.
bad because I feel maybe I could have done more to prepare.
Right. Yeah.
Do you do like meditation? Because I know for myself, like with ebbs and flows, like sometimes modeling's great. Like you're getting stuff like weekly, daily, whatever. And then it can go through that. Do you have like a routine when you're not modeling? Like I noticed that you also have like a cake page. You have some really cool things that you're doing outside of it. How do you take that energy when you are feeling like, oh my gosh, like I don't know where my next modeling gig is going to come from? How do you transmute it into something positive?
I'm someone I have to talk a lot about my feelings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk about them a lot to the people around me.
Perfect.
I think having other people that are in within the industry in some way, it doesn't have to be doing modeling, but just within some type of connective sphere. Talking to
Mm-hmm.
them helps because you still kind of feel like you're a part of it. You're around the people, you're talking the same language. It's totally different. Like I do other things as well. I always try and do other things, but to have that connection feeling, sometimes you just need to reach out and talk to other people that are in it and
Yeah.
doing things. And um,
I get
yeah,
that.
I don't know. It's hard. It's not even something that you always have the answer to, I guess.
Yeah. So I think like really what I'm hearing a lot of is you obviously are talking out your emotions, which is super helpful when you're in that negative mindset. And you're also allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling, right? Like you're not putting too much pressure on yourself, which is beautiful, like you're allowing yourself to go through whatever you're going through. And yeah, I think that's super encouraging. Vanessa, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you feel like would be helpful for someone listening to this podcast today about an obstacle they're going through or something in general that you didn't share?
Or goal setting.
Yeah, working towards being a model, something.
I would just say give it a try. First of all, you don't know what will happen.
Yeah.
So always give things a try if you have an interest in it. If it's something you really care about, don't give up. Just don't put all your eggs in that basket
Mm-hmm.
because that can set you up for not a good place.
Sure.
Yes.
Do you have any do you have any goals on your mind lately that you are or things you're manifesting in the near future?
Totally. I wanna continue to grow and do more. I wanna get into acting actually. That's something I'm looking into more now.
Yeah, definitely.
And just maybe some behind the scenes, like assisting and
Mm-hmm.
different things like that.
Yeah.
I'm always open, and I'm just interested in whatever way, the industry flows. I wanna be a part of it.
I think that's a really healthy mindset too, especially when it comes to setting goals. And in the creative world, it's like we get really caught up on like, no, I just want to be a singer, I just want to be an actor, I just want to be a model. And it's like, well, everything feeds the common goal, right? And the creativity, and you just don't know what opportunity is going to lead to what. And like you said, like not putting your eggs all in one basket, not because it's not going to happen for you, because who, you know what I mean? Like who knows? But it's like it might not happen in the way you've expected, and you've got to like leave room for that unexpected blessing to come in, right? And I think it's when we become control freaks, I suppose, about how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen or the path it's going to happen on, that things become potentially detrimental to our health or our social life or all of the above.
Totally, and we all do it.
Yeah.
It's only natural. We all do it. I think one of the things too is I always try to look at someone else. For instance, if I'm worried about, I don't know, this one's a silly one, but I've always had a big insecurity around my rib cage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I feel like it's.
Do you have like
I
a
just don't
wide?
like
Do you have
it.
like one that sticks out? Because I have one that sticks out.
Yeah, it's a wider rib cage, and when I take my measurements, it's not crazy. It's not. It is actually it's a model standard rib cage, but for my size and for my body, it looks large. I just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
always been something I'm insecure about.
Yeah.
And so whenever I'm insecure about things, and trust me, there's a lot more than that, what I will do is I will just go and I will purposefully look for other people that have something like that or have it to a larger extent than I do. And I will just go, well, they did it.
Yeah.
And look at them doing so well. And those kinds of things can sometimes leave room for hope. And also, we're an ever-changing world, and we're becoming more and more demanding of different diversities as well.
Yeah.
So I think holding out hope for the room for growth also is a great thing. Like I don't think our generation is going to be one that sits back and goes, well, we're old now, so we're going to stop.
Right.
I just don't see that happening.
I don't think there's even a standard of old anymore. Like I see so many more mature clients. Like I work on the other side more of like the beauty industry, and I work in both sides, and old is not a thing. There's people like modeling at all ages. Like I help women in their 50s, 60s who look phenomenal. Like it's not like people who are working out who are healthy at like 70, like it's just not what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's going to continue to feed into different avenues. I've met a couple models lately, like one was 55 and one was actually 67.
Yeah.
And both of them are signed models and they're getting work. One of them is signed not, in a big city in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So just leaving room for that and thinking if they're already breaking down those barriers now, by the time that we get to those places, hopefully there's going to be even more broken down and it's going to leave room for more opportunities and more work for people who have the passions for it.
Right.
And
that's super
something
helpful
that
too.
keeps me going.
Oh, continue, sir.
That's something that keeps me going, just to like feed back into your question about goal setting and
Yeah.
trying to talk yourself down. That is a method that I use to try to keep my spirits up.
I think that's great too, and especially when it's so competitive too, right? Like, and not being in the mindset of, this is the only job that you know what I mean? Like, if I don't get this job, like putting all your weight on an audition or whatever it is, or being really discouraged by somebody else getting it and looking at it through a super competitive lens, but realizing that there are always going to be opportunities. And if you didn't get that one, it might be the next one, and trying to re-encourage. It's hard, but trying to like remind yourself that there probably is a better one for you.
Yeah, you always have to think that. I was just watching a movie recently called Naiad on Netflix, and it was a woman who her greatest accomplishment as an athlete she accomplished when she was 64.
Wow.
And when you think about something like that, that's a job that's completely physical demanding. Most of the time we think of athletes retiring really young.
Yeah, like 30.
Yeah, and she did retire really young. I believe she was like 27 when she retired.
I often wonder if that's the standard that our society has set us up for, to think that, like, I feel like our society has trained us and we're like obviously going in a more diverse trajectory, but I feel like people just retire because they think they have to. And I honestly think that's what's kind of slowly killing us is that mindset of you have to stop. But like, who says, like, oh, we're getting old. Why do we have to believe that? Often I'll walk into a room and people will think I'm significantly younger, but it's just I've never had the energy of aging. Like it's just not something I carry, and I never. So I think that whether you're looking at a business opportunity, a modeling opportunity, health, whatever, it's there's a million other things that you can do, and aging isn't something you really have to buy into. Or I know you were saying, Chloe, like as far as brands, like, oh, if they don't pick me, but why can't you think there's a million brands being born today that I could be part of? So with that vastness of opportunity, there's always the next opportunity. There's always the new supplement. There's something to always look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. And having enough self-worth too, to realize, like, you know what, like, rather than why didn't they pick me, it's more like, well, too bad, because I got a lot to offer, you know, like, or whatever. I've got something to offer another brand that's even better, another whatever movie, if it's an audition, that's even better aligned for me.
Totally. And it's also just remembering that, like, the casting directors and the people and whoever's involved, they have a vision.
Yes.
And it's their dream. That's their thing. And so they want to bring on someone that fits their vision. And like I said, it's not always personal. It's not always, it doesn't mean that you aren't pretty. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. It doesn't mean that you're not this, that, or the other. It's just you don't fit the exact vision. And that's not a bad thing. It's just really hard when because it starts to validate you, right? We all kind of validate ourselves with success and career and jobs, and it can be hard because you might feel like no one sees the value. But yeah, you just have to keep going, I guess, with that kind of thinking of someone will come along, and just not take it personal.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I love
well, thank you.
Shared so much that is going to inspire so many people. Like, I feel inspired, obviously, listening to you.
Yeah, me too. I think you're the perfect guest for this episode, and I can't wait to see what unfolds for you. I'm so excited.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Wait, did Shawna say you have a cake page, or did I mishear that?
Pretty much within that creative mind of mine, I just cannot seem to not be doing something like that. And cakes was something. It was actually cupcakes. It started with cupcakes. And then people were like, you're really great at cupcakes. And I was like, well, I bet I could try cake. So then I just started cakes, and was like, I'm going to make a page for it.
That's amazing. I love that so much. I'm the same way. I love, like, creating with my hands in any way. So baking and cooking is like a huge hobby of mine too.
Yeah, totally. And I'm definitely more about the decorating than I am even about the baking or the eating. I just want to decorate.
Okay, well, this could be great, because the decorating part of me sucks. It's the other part. I'm like, I love this. I like making the flavors taste a certain way, but like the perfectionist, like making it, the flour, like perfect on the cupcake is not my forte.
Yeah, it would be the perfect duo then.
Yeah, I'm more abstract.
Well, I do like cooking. I created a cookbook, so
yes,
I
go girl
as well. So
yeah, you're such a healthy eater. I feel like you need to be teaching me how to stay fit and stay good, because you're always eating so many healthy things.
Well, you know what? I just try to make things healthy as far as like, but they always taste good. So I made black bean brownies the other day.
Those are so good. I've had those.
I made chickpea ice cream. So everything I do, it's always with like healthy skin in mind. So like that's why I created my book and everything. We should definitely partner with something, Vanessa. It would be really cool.
Yeah, totally. And can I ask you something? Have you noticed a huge difference since eating that way in your skin, in your body, and how you age? Do you really notice a difference? Or
no one,
because sometimes people debate that it's like placebo.
No. People do not think I'm the age I am. I've been set up with people who are 20 years younger than me.
Wow.
Yeah, I significantly look younger than my age. Like, it is a thing. I used to have rosacea and acne, and I healed it with food. Things that people told me you could never heal. I healed with food. I healed my brain with food. I healed my anxiety with food. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I think so much of your lifestyle contributes drastically to your body and your mind and your life.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I definitely think there's a place to have like foods that are like more fun, or I do go out and I eat like fun stuff, but I think the majority of what you do is like everything is holistic, and that's why like I like talking about things that are related to like the mind, body, skin, and soul, and like everything is like it's all about like mental diet, physical diet, and
Yeah.
everything.
Balance.
It's all holistic, right? So yeah. And also you don't get like bloated or anything, and you feel like good after you eat. That feeling of not being lethargic after you, feeling like you can go run a marathon, like that was something that was so important, and I just wanted everyone to feel like that.
Totally. I think so many of us too have like sensitivities and things that don't sit well with our body and we're not aware of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I know even for myself, sometimes I think I'm eating healthy, I think I'm eating clean, and I will still notice that I feel bloated, I feel lethargic, and I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure sometimes that there's just things probably that don't sit well.
Yeah.
Sure. And also like a really intuitive eating too, and especially as women, like with our hormones and stuff, that like certain foods at certain times of the month like are actually better for us, and they can help us not feel so bloated or feel so low energy, or can help us gain muscle at a certain time but easier and stuff like that. And like really like researching that stuff kind of has like blown my mind. I don't know if
Yeah.
Shawna, have you ever like looked into like cycle syncing?
That's so funny that you asked that. So I did another podcast on my Reawakening Beauty, and she's a health coach, and we were talking about how food and like different timing, different cycles, like it's all contributing to it, and it's kind of crazy how it works together. So this is
It's
something I've
insane.
been studying since I was like literally 12, because I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. When I was 18, I looked like I was 80. And then when I got older, I looked significantly younger. So it's crazy what food can do for your mind. Even if you like just look at when you eat certain foods, you have caffeine, your heart starts to race, everything. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but experimenting with my own brain injury and all of these other things, like I've seen like massive changes. And this is definitely going down a different road than I thought it would go. But
yeah.
that's
a whole other episode.
This is a whole other episode.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Anyways, Vanessa, you are so sweet. We love talking to you. And where can everybody find you?
My main platform right now is Instagram, just my name at Vanessa Charters, and it's the same everywhere, TikTok, Facebook, all the things, but Instagram would be my main choice of platform currently.
Awesome.
And you're stunning. You're beautiful inside and out. And I'm so happy that we got to connect. So thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me, and likewise.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you to everybody listening. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for being part of Unwritten. Our podcast is your podcast.
Do you want your story to be heard? Follow us on Instagram at Unwritten.Podcast and TikTok at Unwritten.Podcast.